Year, everyone. I hope 2019 is and will be the most beautiful year of your life yet. I have news to share. I started 2019 on a very different note. I'm just back from a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat, and I began 2019 early in the morning with my eyes closed, meditating and getting into my inner self. In all the years that I partied on every New Year's Eve, I couldn't in my wildest dreams imagine I could start a new year this way, completely silent, completely alone, and completely blissed out. This video is about sharing my experience at Vipassana. Every single day or the 10 days that I was there, I kept thinking that when I come out, the first thing I'm going to be saying is, "Yay! I survived 10 days of Vipassana!" I'll wear makeup, I'll be free, I could eat chocolate, I could sleep whenever, I could get up whenever, I could meditate or not meditate, I could talk to people, I could make eye contact, I could watch TV, I could do a lot of things. The funny thing is, once I came out, I did not have any of those desires. So let me start from the very beginning. Going to the Vipassana meditation retreat for 10 days was one of the things on my bucket list. It wasn't on the top of the bucket list, but it was one of the things. My very dear friend, philosopher, guide, mentor, and now a family member, Manisha Shah, the lady who I credit with getting me on this path of happiness, of spirituality, of whatever I call it. Manisha had told me years ago that whether you do anything else or not in life, you have to do the 10-day Vipassana retreat. And I was like, okay, I will. At some point, I had planned to go there sometime in the future, maybe 7 or 10 years later. But the universe always has its own plan. The synchronicity of affairs was such. I literally stopped at the gate. I blinked twice and I said, okay, I'm really doing this. What happened was, due to some communication gap, the funny thing is this video has a halo to it. Maybe because I'm shooting this early in the morning, or maybe I'm just back from Vipassana, the camera decides to put a halo around my video, and I had not even planned that. Can you see the halo around my head? Okay, so this is how it went. I had applied for Vipassana, but due to some communication gap, I did not get a confirmation right away, but I was waitlisted. And I was told that I will come to know very close to the date, which was 21st December, that whether they have a slot for me or not. And I just scribbled about this to my husband, and he decided to take it upon himself to follow up and, beg and plead and whatever to make sure that I got a slot there. He called them every single day and he explained the situation, and he said she doesn't mind sharing a room, she doesn't mind coming even last minute, but please do try to accommodate her. I think the temptation of having your wife gone for 10 days was too great. Let me not take credit away from where it's due. So my husband really persisted and made sure that I got allotted, although it was last minute. So at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I had no idea that 5 o'clock that very evening, I'm going to be on my way to Vipassana. So, with great amount of excitement and trepidation and a sense of curiosity, I walked into Global Vipassana Pagoda Center at Gorai near Mumbai. And it was surreal right from the start. I took a ferry ride from the mainland into a few minutes of ride over the sea into the pagoda complex, and then I walked about a kilometer with my bag to enter the gate, and that 1 kilometer walk was kind of preparing me for what's ahead. I was excited, I didn't know what to expect, and I really didn't believe that I'm going to be here for the next 10 days. I walked in, the first day was an orientation about the timetable, about how our life is going to be for the next 10 days. The first thing they said was that you're going to be on Maun Vrat, which is absolutely no talking to another human being for the next 10 days. That didn't scare me, funnily. Then they took away our mobile phones. That didn't scare me either. I was more focused on what I'm going to have to do for the entire day while I was there. So this was our schedule for 10 days, 9 days. We would wake up at 4 a.m., meditate by ourselves from 4:30 to 6:30. 6:30 there would be breakfast and a break till 8 o'clock. 8 to 9 a group meditation in the hall. 9 to 11 again independent meditation. 11 o'clock would be lunch, which would get done by 11:45, and a rest break till about 1 o'clock. 1 to 2:30 again private meditation. 2:30 to 3:30 again a group meditation. 3:30 to 5 private meditation. 5 o'clock tea break, tea, fruit and a snack break, and then 6 to 7 again a group meditation. 7 to 8:30 there would be a discourse in the meditation hall by the propagator of Vipassana, Mr. S.N. Goenka. That was fun. 8:30 to 9 again there would be a short group meditation. 9 o'clock retreat to our rooms, and 9:30 lights out. No communication even through gestures with another human being. I ended up sharing my room with another person, which I didn't mind, except that I felt so rude to not be able to ask a person that should I switch on the AC, is the fan okay, is it okay to keep the light on, light off. I felt a little rude, so I decided that if I send her a lot of love from my heart, she'll understand that. She doesn't have my words, but she has my kindness. So it was lovely. When you are planning to go into Vipassana, nobody tells you about the exact stuff that you have to do. Everybody talks about, accommodation and food and the Maun Vrat and the no mobile phone rule, and that you can't leave the complex for 10 days. All that, but nobody tells you, or not too many people I know talk about exactly what you have to do when you're there. We spent, so on an average, about 11 to 12 hours a day in meditation, private and group. It took a couple of days for adjusting to the no dinner policy. I remember the first 2 nights I was like, oh, I'm so hungry, it's 10 p.m. and I can't sleep because the last food I had was tea and a banana at 5:30, and that's it. But I got around that. I got used to it. In fact, my body started liking it. I would go for a walk around the little garden outside, a little in the morning and sometime late in the evening. Goenka sir said during the course of the 10-day session that please think that this is a serious mind operation in progress. So when you're a patient, you don't really go out and speak to other people in the outside world. Would you as a patient go out and mingle with other people? Would you as a patient do something very loud or very chaotic while you're going through an operation? And just because this is not physical doesn't mean that it's not important. In fact, it's the most important operation that you could have. It was literally cutting open your mind and diving deep and trying to figure out what is the stuff that's wrong, the stuff that's right, how it's working, what needs to come out, what needs to change, what needs to heal. So you have to take it very seriously, and that's what we did. What I'm very grateful for is the basics that we were provided at the Vipassana Global Pagoda Center in Gorai. It was very, very clean. It was like a very nicely kept ladies' hostel. Of course, there was a male section which was on the other side. There were like about 50 of us women, maybe about 50-60 men. We were totally segregated. We knew there's a men's section and we knew there's a group of men, but in 9-10 they come across a male face. When they told me that you're going to be on Maun Vrat, which is no speaking at all, I decided to not make eye contact, because I knew that if I make eye contact, then I will decide to smile or to gesture, want to communicate in some ways. So I generally enjoy my own company. So not speaking, not making eye contact was kind of nice. It was like a horse with blinkers. I just was me with my thoughts. People make a big deal about it and people say it's really tough, but I generally like to keep myself with my thoughts. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. I enjoy my own company, so I didn't find that tough. I did not miss my mobile phone for 1 second. In 10 that really blew my mind. What happened was I was there with my thoughts. The thoughts were just too many. Too many. By the third day, I remember I was holding my head and I was like, just stop thinking. I don't want to think. It was that was really hard. The constant barrage of thinking, the thoughts. It was like I was being, downloaded with and the memories that came up. It was things that I didn't even think that I think about too much. They all came up. Memories from my childhood. Oh, that was a park we used to go to. That was a beach we used to play at. Those were the toys I used to have. There was a box I owned. That was the kind of breakfast mom made on Sunday mornings. It was very strange. The weddings I attended when you were little children. I really wanted the thoughts to stop. Some parts during the meditation they did, and I was so grateful in those moments. But most of the time, because there's no external communication, the communication inside my head was crazy. It was really chaotic. I don't know if thoughts can totally stop for a very extended period of time, but when they do, that place in time is beautiful. It is so blissful. It's so happy. So yeah, the place was very clean. The place was segregated. The food was amazing. Even though there was no dinner, the food was vegetarian, but it was freshly made. It was hygienic. It was light. The plates and glasses and the place we sat at to eat, everything was spotlessly clean. The rooms, they all had ACs. The washrooms were spotlessly clean. There was a very efficient geyser, water taps, electricity. We didn't have to worry about anything. It was better than what I expected. The one that I did was the executive course. That was the last 10 days of 2018. The teachers were so nice. The helpers were so kind. Even without our speaking much, they understood what we needed. They made sure that we were comfortable at all times, in all ways possible. The meditation hall was huge. It was lovely. It was very well maintained. There were good ACs. There was proper electricity. There were dim lights for meditation. There were huge and very, very comfortable cushions for all of us who sat on the floor. There were also big armchairs for the ladies and gentlemen who could not sit on the floor. They had a backrest. They had 100 other extra cushions. There were cushions on the floor for their feet. So I really felt that the organizers had thought about everything. We had to keep our rooms clean ourselves, and there was a laundry service. So it felt like they are making sure that you're not bothered in any which way. You're not inconvenienced for anything, so that you can put all your time and energy and effort into the real work, which is the meditation. So I'm very, very grateful to all the people, all the energies that have gone into making sure that I had a very, very comfortable stay. Where Vipassana does not charge even a single penny for us to go and stay there for 10 days. So all the electricity, the AC, the water, the food, the space, the housekeeping, the gardening, everything is taken care of. And we don't pay a single penny for it. Vipassana around the world runs on people who donate money, and donation is very easy because it's now online. Just donate anything, any amount, anytime you want. So people who attend Vipassana make the donations so that other people like them can have the facility to do it too. The teachers are there to beginners like me. Every single day the teachers would call us in front and speak to us a couple of sentences and ask us if we're facing any difficulties. So very, very kind and very, very sweet. I really felt the whole universe was helping me in not just being there, but making sure that I get through it well. Now to the core of it. Vipassana is tough. Nobody told me that. Everybody kept saying, oh, it's lovely, it's wonderful, it's fabulous, it's very important, it really changes you, it transforms you, it's very good, it's good for your soul, it's good for your mind, you should do it again and again, it's really hell like that. Nobody tells you that it's really tough. It is. And it's also very powerful. It's very, very, very powerful. It's not a religious course. It does not support or discard any religion. What they teach is that you put aside for the 10 days every religious belief, ritual, or any other practice that you hold. Keep it aside for 10 days. Don't disregard it. Don't worship it. Don't compare it to what you're learning here, what you're doing here, but just keep it aside and try this new thing that you're learning. After the 10 days are over, of course, you have the freedom to do whatever you wish. You could compare them, you could keep Vipassana in your life, you could not keep it, you could keep religion in your life, you could not keep it, you could create your own ideas about how you're going to live for the rest of your life. Give this technique a chance in your life and see if it works for you. I really like that because it's not like you're being indoctrinated into another religion. It's not like you're being indoctrinated into a sect or a community of people who believe a certain things and don't believe, because had that been the case, I wouldn't have been able to do it. The reason why I tried it is because it's very, very purely spiritual, not religious, and there's a huge difference. And spiritual only pertains to me the human being, me the spirit, and me for everything that I am. We started the 10-day session with the first 3.5 days, 11 hours a day, being about watching our breath. So Mr. S.M. Goenka, the propagator of Vipassana in India, he brought Vipassana into India from Burma many years ago. Although Vipassana originally began, I'm told, in India by Gautam Buddha 2500 years ago, but over time it went to different countries and it had different versions of it. But the purest version of Vipassana was apparently maintained in Burma by a very select few people, and it kept passing from generation to generation. And Goenka sir's teacher was a person who taught it for many years in Burma, where Goenka sir learned from him for about 14 years. And then Goenka sir came to India, brought Vipassana again back to the land where it belonged and where it originated. So Vipassana is essentially a purely meditative technique. My theory is that meditation is about going within you. It's like we spend an entire lifetime trying to understand everything, trying to understand how the world works, trying to understand how cars work and machines work, and how plants grow, and how human bodies parts work, and how the universe works, and how there are atoms and planets and different universes. But we actually never take the time or the effort or make a priority of actually understanding what we don't know a thing about, and that is ourselves, who we are, what we carry within our mind, what creates things in our mind. We don't spend any time in understanding that, and we spend an entire lifetime trying to understand everything that's going on around us. So Vipassana is a course that's purely about diving in within, diving deep, meditating, because it's about going deeper than that little part of the conscious mind that we all call ourselves. It's going deeper than that 5-10% of our mind that we all know about. And in the deeper levels of our mind is the truest part of us. We carry so much there, and we have absolutely no or very limited information about what we are deep in. The first 3.5 days were only about watching your breath. Of course, there's a technique to it. It is, I think, one of the toughest things that I've ever been put through in my life. Imagine I can just watch my breath, one breath coming in, going out, coming in, going out, and then my thought goes into, okay, there's chocolate ice cream in the freezer. Oh, I need to have a bath. Oh, I'm getting late for that meeting. Oh, I have a counseling at 3 o'clock. Oh, And then I have to remind myself, okay, I need to I need to watch my breath. So you bring it back, and within 2 breaths you're again, oh, that was a good holiday, oh, that was a good dress, oh, I need to exercise. Oh, it is so difficult. It is so crazy. The mind is literally like a monkey. It goes everywhere and does not do the one thing that you're required to do, which is to watch your breath. Try it. I mean, you can sit in your house right now and try it. Watch your breath. How many breaths can you watch without your mind taking you into outer space? Several times during the first 3 days, I was like, what am I doing here? I mean, am I really doing this? Isn't this insane? To be just sitting and watching my breath? Who does that? Why am I doing this? What is the logic to this? And that's when I said, when I get out of Vipassana, I'll be like, yeah, I'm free. I don't have to watch my breath anymore. Send me back to Vipassana right now, I'd go back in a second. Because after the 3.5 days of watching the breath, we were told that, okay, now you're going to be given the Vipassana technique. Vipassana. That's the actual correct pronunciation. I opted for the Hindi version of it so that I could get deep into Hindi understand. So at the end of 3.5 days, we were shown the technique, the basic technique about watching sensations come up in your body, subtle and gross, and how we are going to watch them by following a certain pattern of taking your awareness from the top of your head to the rest of your body, part by part, and constantly watch out for sensations that come up without moving a finger, without moving any part of your body, and without changing your posture, without wriggling your toes. So that was very tough, and the teachers were very kind. The first 4-5 days I was fidgeting, and I was like, no, I can't sit still for 1 hour. I cannot not move my toes. Oh, my foot has gone to sleep. I can't feel my hands anymore. So I fidgeted a lot, and they were very patient. Nobody came to, give me one whack. But slowly I realized that I was able to do it for a little longer. The next 6.5 days were about just practicing the technique day in and day out, every single hour in group meditations, and also there's a independent individual meditation that you can do either in your room, which I avoided because I knew that if I see my bed I'll go and fall asleep, or in a cell. They have more than 100 cells in the pagoda, and the cells are very tiny, like maybe 3 feet by 3 feet rooms there, and individual rooms where one person can go in and sit and meditate completely by themselves in complete silence. Well ventilated, so it's cool and very calming. And it was there in those cells that I found a lot of peace, and I found a lot of moments, maybe minutes, I don't know how long, when there was actually zero thoughts. And that feeling of having no thoughts was addictive. It took me a couple of days to get adjusted to, that restricted an area. But then that environment really helped in going inside and diving in, and it was lovely. So I really look forward to that. The other thing I really look forward to was the discourses in the evening. There's a big projector screen. The lights would get dimmed, and for 1.5 hours they would play the discourse of S.N. Goenka sir. He's an old man with grey hair and very normal looks, but the minute he opens his mouth, he has you hooked for 90 minutes. You're just watching what he's saying. He just has you hooked. He's so interesting to listen to, and he has a sense of humor. He talks about exactly what happened during the day. You couldn't sit now for 1 hour. You had to move. You heard somebody coughing. Your thoughts were going all over the place. So he knew exactly what you're going through that day, and at the end of the day, he says, okay, the first day has come to an end. Now only 9 more days are left. Don't think that's too long a time. You have to do this. You've dropped your whole life to come and sit in this place for 10 days. So make it count. Make every single minute that you're here count. Don't complain in your mind. Don't think that this is very tough or whatever. Put all your efforts into the work that you're here to do. It's tapasya. It's tapasya. It's serious. It's serious work. It's serious meditation. So he would say every single day, it's the end of day 2, it's the end of day 3, it's the end of day 4. Don't think that, it's a lot of time. Just do as much work as you can, because when you go back, you'll go back to your normal life and you won't be able to do what you're here to do. So do it. So he was inspiring, he was motivating, he was funny, he was understanding, and he gave very clear instructions about how to do all the meditation. He would say the same instructions several times, and I would wonder why is the same thing being repeated, but I understood later on that the repetition was important. The mind always questions, but when you're said the same thing a million times, it just registers. It just becomes a rule that you don't fight against. The technique was not rocket science. It was not rocket science. It was easy to follow. It was very clear. And apparently all across the world, each and every one of the 200 Vipassana centers follows the exact same time routine, the exact same method, the exact techniques, the same discourses are played on the projector screen every evening. Everything is followed, so that if I walked into a center in Canada, it would be the same thing as here in India, it would be the same thing as in Burma, it would be the same thing. So that's amazing, because they have really stuck to the time routines that he talked about. The tough part was the actual meditation, because I could sit for 2 hours, on the floor, on a mat or on a cushion, but who can really ensure that those 2 hours I'm doing nothing but meditating? The tough part is getting your mind that runs away to come back and do the job at hand. I would sit to meditate and I would start the technique, and suddenly my mind would go off and my mind would go off, and I had to pull it back. Okay, now do this job, and after a few seconds or minutes, I don't know, again it would run off, so I would have to pull it back. So it takes a lot of patience to do that. It takes a lot, but I think the 10 days of being there teaches you that it's important to do that. It's important to create that discipline, and you just have to do it. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time there. I mean, if you're going to be sitting there for 11 hours, supposed to be meditating, and you're not meditating, then you're wasting your time. I have to admit I was not successful for many days. Yeah, I remember even on the 7th or 8th day, one day I wanted to cry. I was like, what am I even doing here? If after 7 days of meditating, on the 8th day, I'm sitting and unable to meditate for a long time without being distracted by my thoughts, then am I a failure or what is it? But then Goenka sir said every single day that you're not to get depressed, you're not to get angry, you're not to feel dejected. You're just supposed to keep bringing your mind back and doing what you're here to do. So keep doing that. You start the technique and your mind runs away, you bring the mind back, you start again. It runs away, you bring your mind back, and you start again, and it runs away and you bring it back, and you keep doing this and you keep doing this and you keep doing this, not just for 10 days, but for every single day of your life that you're going to practice. If you're going to practice, which I have been continuing after coming back here, it's so beneficial that it would be stupid for me not to continue. What can I say? In the last couple of days after coming back, I didn't think that I've transformed or completely changed or completely become a new person and stuff like that, because last 5-6 years I have been practicing a lot in this field. I have been listening to a lot of stuff, I have been reading a lot of stuff, so there were a lot of things which had got me conscious. About till 2 weeks ago I was conscious about my anger, about feeling happy, sad, whatever. So I was able to be on top of things, because that much I've learned in the last 4-5 years, that I can be a conscious person, and when I'm a conscious person, then how I feel and how I get about my life is entirely in my hands. So I wouldn't say that going away for 10 days, completely changed me overnight or over the 10 days, but it's added a very, very powerful technique to everything that I knew earlier. It's my prerogative to continue to do it and or not do it, but I find so much benefit in the technique of Vipassana that I think it's going to become a very big part of my daily life. So the change that I've seen in me over the last few days after coming out of Vipassana is that now I don't have to make an effort to be conscious about what's going on inside my head. For example, the driver turned up late today, and normally what I would have done was that I would feel angry about him coming late. Then I would be conscious enough to say, okay, I'm getting angry at him. That's not nice. I should try and see from his point of view, and I would tell myself, okay, maybe, he woke up late, or his kid made him late, or maybe he missed a bus or whatever, and I would say, okay, it's all right. I would let it go, and then I would tell him that, Bhaiya, please come on time tomorrow. So I would make that effort to go through that process and then open my mouth. That much consciousness I had gained over the last 4-5 years. But today when he was late, he came and there was no anger that came up in me. I just raised my volume and I said, Kyun bhaiya, your watch is not working? What's the time? It's 8:50. What is the time that you're supposed to be here? 8:30. You please correct your watch and see you tomorrow at 8:30. So I raised my volume, but he understood that it wasn't anger, and he understood that he needs to make a change. So it was a very comfortable experience, and it was so nice that I didn't have to do all that internal mental work while speaking to him. That was a happy surprise. Life doesn't change. Life doesn't change. Life remains the same. People don't change. Situations don't change. Circumstances don't change. But what changes is our reaction to the whole thing. And if our reaction changes, then our entire life changes. I have to admit, I did not meditate every single minute of every single day's 11 hours. My mind did go into very many other places, or I'm not a realized soul, because I was sitting there for 11 hours for sure, but I was not meditating every single minute of that time. After a while I said, it's okay. It's okay, I'm going to allow my mind to do what it wants to do. And what I realized was that a lot of mental work got done. Some things that I was confused about over the last couple of months, something that I was not very clear about, something that I didn't have great focus on. I was able to change a lot of that in my head. I was able to find a lot of clarity, a lot of focus. By the time I came back, I knew that, okay, these are the changes I'm going to create in my life. I'm a changed person, not like that. It was just an intense amount of clarity. I felt an intense amount of intuition, a heightened level of intuition. I felt an intense amount of love for not just me and the people I love, for people in general. I feel such empathy, such a higher level of compassion. I just feel that the kind of happiness and bliss and peace that I'm experiencing thanks to things like Vipassana, I hope and wish and pray that every single human being walking the planet today is able to do that. I hope you take whatever path you have to, but I hope that you're able to get onto the path that makes this life a beautiful journey, regardless of whether there's grief or joy or happiness or disease or circumstances going well or not. I just hope for everybody to find happiness and peace. There is a part of Vipassana called the Metta Bhavana, which is compassion for everyone, which is at the end of the course. They teach you the last day. So that's basically feeling compassion for everyone, thinking of them as wonderfully as you think for yourself. And that's such a lovely feeling, because when you send out love to others, what you feel while doing that is nothing but love for yourself. At the end of this speech, all I can say is that I wouldn't say go to Vipassana or don't go to Vipassana, but I would for sure say that I don't think any of us can afford to continue to live our lives in such a way that we don't know the one thing, the one person, the one concept which we really, really need to know inside out, every part of it, and that is knowing exactly who we are deep inside. So do whatever it takes, but go inside and meet you, because that is critical to having a wonderful life. 10 days of Vipassana felt really, really long and tough and challenging and peaceful and blissful and enriching and powerful and transforming. So I'd go back there anytime. I'd go back there now. I know I can't do that, but I do intend to take the 10 days experience into my everyday life. And I'm sure that I'm going to feel improvements in my life every single day. I wish you all the love. I wish you all the bliss. I wish you all the peace. I wish you all the settled calmness that I feel inside my heart right now. God bless you and have a wonderful 2019. I'm just emerging from a 9-day silence fast at Vipassana. Speaking after 9 days, almost no communication. I think 100 other people were attending this Vipassana course, and I did not make eye contact with another human being for the last 10 days. It's quite interesting to be with yourself, not even having the phone. I'm in my room here. It's a simple place. The best part of my room is this was my window view. I watched the pagoda during the day and slept with my eyes on it at night. No talking to anybody, no phones, no eye contact, just with myself and within myself. I quite enjoyed my company. The room is a normal one. There's a bed, clean sheets, place to keep my stuff, lots of place, stuff to clean out. There's a water cooler, staircase, lift. There is that's the meditation room. This is that's our bell for reminding us to wake up early in the morning, 4 o'clock. And every time we had to meditate. Good part was that we meditated for hours and hours, but we got a break every hour or hour and a half, to stretch our legs, to drink water. Blessed to have come here. Tiny hall.
is a what is called a keystone placed over there. In that keystone there is a small cavity where the relics of the Buddhas have been enshrined. I am saying it again. Right at the center of Dhamma Chakra, there is a big stone which is 4,000 kilos, 4 tons. There is a cavity in the stone, below that stone, which is called keystone. Right below that is a cavity where the relics of the Buddha have been enshrined. So let's sit below and meditate.
Last day of Vipassana. We are just gonna be headed home, but before that we are taking a trip to the pagoda that was right behind the place we stayed. The pagoda is apparently the largest pillarless dome in the world, and 12,000 people can sit inside it, or 8,000 people can sit inside it and meditate together at the same time. So here is the pagoda. I hope you can see all of it. And we're walking towards the meditation hall for one last meditation before we leave for home. It's amazing. Such a big organization and such a big establishment only runs on donations in a world that's actually run by commerce. Doesn't feel like it's in India. Apparently the whole structure has been inspired by Burma. Vipassana has come from Burma, but actually went there from India. So India and Burma have a deep connection when it comes to Vipassana. Good morning from the Vipassana Pagoda in Gorai, Mumbai. From 10 days of Vipassana back to the real world. And we are now Vipassana certificate holders. Yes.